Alrighty, let's see if our plastic's all fully kicked over. Hopefully not discolored. It's got some bubbles rising up out of it, like there might have been some moisture in it. Let's see what our temperature is while we're stirring it. 350, 360. It should be fully kicked over. And this one, 350, 360, 360-ish, 350. Yep, those should both be fully kicked over. Those both came out of the same bucket, but notice this one's more clear than this one. And I wiped this cup out very carefully because this is the one I'm going to make the white in. All right. I'm going to add this is a cup and a half, and this recipe is closer to for a cup. I'm going to add just a quarter teaspoon of white pearl powder. Not that it matters, because you're going to come up with whatever you like, which is no doubt going to be different than whatever I like. There we go. Hopefully we don't knock that over. And then we're going to use some of the, what may be some of the very last of the shad flake from Bear's Baits. I figure, what is that, 1 teaspoon? Okay, we'll see what that looks like. Oh, yuck. I hope I didn't have any of that plastic stay in there. I almost ruined that batch. Okay, I think I got everything out. I didn't when it looks funny. Well, you know what it was. I scooped some bad plastic off the can. Yeah, that looks pretty good. That's a nice white pearl color. We're not going to use that just yet because we're going to add salt to this. All right. And then we're going to add some fine black flake to this one. That's probably too much. Oh, that's 040 black flake. Yeah, that's why it looks like it's going to be too much. It probably won't because the bigger flakes don't disperse as much. And then we're going to start out, I think, with a quarter teaspoon of Lurecraft 101 colorant. I think this is Lurecraft 101. Yeah, Watermelon 101. There's a quarter teaspoon. I think I'm going to need more than that, but we're going to get a stir stick in there first. And let's see, here's one. Let's wipe the smoke sparkle off of it and see what that looks like. Now, mind you, we're going to need another quarter teaspoon in there. Both of these are going to get salt in them, so it's going to make the colors lighter. So, now there's plastic in this because I tried to save some colorant. So I'll overdo it just a little. That's a little more than half of a teaspoon of Watermelon 101. Oh yeah, that's starting to look a little dark because it's going to lighten up quite a bit when I add salt to it. Let's see what they feel like. I can probably get away with adding salt. And I'm already making a mistake. You should be stirring. If you're going to do salt in a non-stirring pot, one that doesn't pick up the salt well, you should be stirring it as you add it. It still doesn't keep the salt from settling out to the bottom, but it's not as bad. I could actually probably inject that. That still feels good. Usually the salt knocks it down quite badly. All right. Now let's see, this still feels good, so we're going to add salt to our pearl. In case you hadn't gathered with all this salt, I'm making some stick worms. But anybody says, oh, it's a Senko, it's absolutely not a Senko. I'm making a Clubbo. Once you see them come out of the molds, you'll see that I specifically made it. When I first made it, oh geez, probably 15 years ago. Close anyway. To not be a Senko, but be able to fish in a lot of the same places that you would fish a Senko. And I've actually gone head-to-head against guys who are hardcore Senko aficionados with these. Let me find my other glove. I don't want to burn myself. Getting in a little bit of a hurry here for the camera. So, anyways, when you see when I demold them, that they're not a Senko. All right. I don't know why this works, but it's something guys taught me a long time ago when I first started making baits. That's to burp the injector. Oh, dang. All right, here we go. And we're going to fill. That one shouldn't take much. And we're going to fill. That one shouldn't take much. Oh, let's get in there. I hope the laminating block didn't freeze off. Well, I guess I'll find out when I go to fill this one. Yep, this one's filling. That's full. Then we're going to go to this one because it's one I want to test. And I don't know if I have enough to fill this one or not. Because the first shot with the injectors, when they're cold, doesn't always, you usually wind up with a big slug of plastic in there on that first shot when these injectors are cold. Okay, now, just for the heck of it, although it's probably too late to top these off if they need any more, I'm going to top them off anyway, just because it's a habit. It's a good habit to get in. This one definitely should have been topped off a little sooner. Bet you the first couple ones on the top of that one are hollow. All right. We haven't, let's top these off a little more. It actually shrunk down. So maybe it did need to be topped off. All right. And there probably isn't any molten that I can squeeze out of here. Nope. It's froze off solid, or solid-ish. All right. And let's see how much of I'm getting some discolored plastic in my white pearl. So, all right. Push those nozzles out. And as you can see on that first shot, we got, oh wow, a huge blob of plastic that froze off instead of going into a mold. I'll bet you this one didn't feel very well. I'm hoping this one and this one did. Particularly this one. But we'll see. All right. Let's get the and patoon. I'm not gonna shoot another one right now if these work, which they should. But so I'm just gonna set these out of the way. And we'll give it a few minutes to freeze off. Well, let's go ahead and clean out our blending block. I should add a handle to this blending block like the newer handles, like the newer blending blocks. But I've had it for a long time. And it's worked just fine just the way it is. I bought this from Bass Tackle, by the way. Just because I make my own stuff doesn't mean I won't buy good stuff from somebody else. Those injectors I was using weren't Bass Tackle injectors, although this originally came with a pair of Bass Tackle injectors that I still have. Those were N2 injectors. And those N2 injectors work perfectly with the Bass Tackle bending hardware that I have, blending hardware that I have. All right, we'll be back in a few minutes after we're sure those are froze off. Actually, the small ones should be froze off, but we'll give it a few minutes. All right, They were almost froze off by the time I turned off the camera, so it's probably only been a minute or two. We're going to start with these. Two of these are old tried and true molds that work. Well, usually work. Except, like I said, I might not have had enough plastic to fill this one. So, but if it didn't fill, that's okay, because I know that mold fills. I've used it before. Alright, this here is a 10 cavity 4-inch Clubo mold, and some of you have probably seen it before because it's been featured in videos before, and I think I've sold more of this particular configuration Clubo mold than I wouldn't say all the others, than any other, the 4-inch 10 cavity Clubo mold. And as you can see, it produces beautiful 2-color laminates. Let's set those aside. I might fish with those. Well, I will fish with those. Now let's see if we had enough plastic by the time we got to this one. I'm hoping we at least had enough the plastic flowing well enough to fill this one, but let's see if we got enough to fill this one. I was pushing it for cold injectors. Yeah, it did not fill. That's not wasted plastic. A lot of people will go, oh, that's ruined, I've got to laminate, there's no way to separate them. Of course there's no way to separate it. Just melt it together, you can turn it into black, or you can add some more watermelon and make it into an off-shaded watermelon. Lots of things you can do with that. Don't throw it away. Or just melt it down, shoot it into baits, and those guys that come around looking for freebies and handouts or discounts, give them baits made out of that, out of your leftover laminate runner materials. Anyway, I ran out of plastic by the time, ran out of molten plastic by the time I got to that one. Let's open this one last, even though there's a chance it's no good. Let's see here. Now this is not a new offering. I've been offering it for a long time. But this is a 4-inch 5-cavity Clubo mold for those people who don't want to spend the money on a 10 cavity. This one costs a little bit less. The guys that are on a budget. That one came out perfect. And here's the other one, also came out perfect. Alright, let's go ahead and open this one. This one's a 3-inch 24 cavity Clubo mold. And I have no idea how it'll come out because I made this one for myself and I've never shot it before. And it looks like we got 24 perfect little worms off that giant runner. Some people are going to complain about that runner. That's 24 baits there. That's 2 bags of baits that you can sell as is. And that right there, like I said, just add more watermelon to it or shoot it as an off color and sell it to the discount hunters. Well, that 24, and I actually haven't been offering this as a 24, I've been offering it as a 20. I made the 24 for myself. And then this is the small version of the 3-inch Clubo mold. And as you can see, it makes beautiful little laminates also. Well, that one did. Let's take a look at this one. And it made 5 beautiful little laminate 3-inch Clubos. So you can shoot monocolors easy enough. You can shoot laminates easy enough with this whole series. 3-inch, 4-inch, and 5-inch versions of the Clubo and the 6-inch version of the Clubo. They all shoot beautiful laminates.